So there is a lot of confusion with the candidates in terms of how this new CBT style exam is going to be, right? So one, they don't know how the exam is going to look like. Plus, then there are doubts about whether it's a good thing or whether it's a bad thing. Whether it's going to reduce the value of CFA charter. These kind of questions keep on coming. So in today's video, we're going to discuss all that. I'm going to show you how the new exams are probably going to look like. We're going to talk about whether it's good or bad from a candidate perspective. CFA Institute or the Prometric has provided a sample exam, like not in terms of questions, but in terms of how the user interface is going to be. So we will look at the user interface. We will also look at some of the important dates for 2021 and 2022. And then towards the end, I'm going to discuss some very important pointers from a preparation perspective and some of the frequently asked questions. Alright, so let's talk about how the CBT format is going to look like. Okay, so earlier, up to 2020 or 2019, when you took CFA Level 1 exam, the papers, the timing used to be morning 9 to 12 and afternoon 2 to 5, right? There was a mandatory 2-hour break in between. And all the 10 subjects used to be tested in the AM, and the same 10 subjects were tested in the PM, the morning and the afternoon session. Now it's not going to be same. Now what they're planning to do is that in the first session, they're planning to test 4 subjects. So which 4 subjects? We will have ethics, which I think is a good news. You don't want to do ethics when you're tired, especially in the afternoon after lunch. So you get done with ethics early in the morning. You do FRA, you do economics, you do quant, right? So these 4 subjects go in the morning or in the first session. Then in the second session, you do remaining 6 subjects. Okay. Now, what is the source of this information? Because we've been kind of noticing CFA Institute has been posting stuff on their website and then pulling out those pages. I don't know what's the rationale there, but this information we found from one of the videos conducted by the CFA Society. I'll put the link to that video in the description so you can verify this yourself. But it looks like this is how the first session and second session is going to be. From a preparation perspective, is it good or bad? I think it's actually better, because you're mentally prepared of, just these 4 subjects are going to be tested in the morning, which is kind of a nice thing. It also, helps you set the things a little better, I guess. Then the second question is about the topic weights. So until now, Level 1, the topic weights used to be a fixed value, a fixed percentage. There were fixed number of questions. For example, ethics, there was a fixed value. These are the number of questions that would be asked. Now it's not fixed value anymore. It's going to be rather percentage. So for level 1, if you would see this column, we have 15 to 20% for ethics and 8 to 12% for quant and so on, which means, from a question writer perspective, paper setter perspective, it gives them a little more flexibility. From subject importance perspective, it's still the same. Ethics is still, the most important subject at level 1. And then the second in order of importance is your FRA. And I think it used to be the same even earlier. And then we have equity and fixed income. And then we have your quant, economics, and then we corporate finance in this category, and then we have the other value subjects. Level 2 and level 3, they've anyways been, percentage, a range bracket throughout. So I don't think that makes a lot of difference. Then, is there a change in the CFA curriculum? So the answer is no. CFA Institute has already announced that. So 2020 and 2021 curriculum is going to be exactly the same. No changes at all. So you originally signed up for 2020 exams, you've purchased juice notes, you purchased Schweizers, you purchased, curriculum, whatever content you have. It's okay to use the same. You don't need to buy new content. The syllabus is going to be same. Will it be same for 2022? Maybe not. What they've said on their website is that for the 2022 exams, for level 1, they will announce the curriculum in the month of May. And for level 2 and level 3, whenever the registration window opens, right? So 2022, we don't know yet. They generally don't change much. So if if you're someone who's want to get a early start and start preparing, you can consider doing that. But as far as 2021 is concerned, it's going to be same. So no questions there. So that kind of, hopefully that gives you a good idea of how the new exams are going to be. Okay, at least in terms of weightage and in terms of the decomposition of the subjects. Now, the big question, the elephant in the room that needs to be addressed is, is it good or is it a bad thing? Because again, there are a lot of people who are saying what CFA has done is they're conducting exams 4 times a year, like for level 1 now. So more number of people will sign up, and that would probably dilute the value of the CFA, right? That's one side of the story. Then again, people say that the size of the exam is reduced. So earlier it used to be like a 6-hour paper. Now it's going to be 4.5 hours. I'll talk about that. So that will also make it people who probably not deserving would end up passing, or that these are some of the stories that people have. Now there are both sides of the story, and in this section I'll probably try and talk a little bit about it. So let's look at the facts first. From a flexibility perspective, what are the advantages of CBT? So earlier in the previous regime, when we had a paper-based exam, you would have one entire day dedicated for writing the exams. As I said earlier, your papers used to be morning 9 to 12, then you would get that 2-hour window in the afternoon, then 2 to 5. At 5 o'clock you get kind of done with the whole business. And then generally at most of the centers across the world, there are crazy traffic jams. At least in India I've seen that, and you somehow manage to reach your home and business done. Now what if this format had a lot of disadvantages? For example, what if there is something very important scheduled for me on that particular day, right? I don't have an alternative, then I just push my exams by 6 months. Now what happens in a CBT format is it's not one day, it's a testing window of about 10 days. So you're busy on Saturday, write it on Sunday. Test taker perspective, I think that's a good news, because you get plenty of flexibility in terms of how you want to schedule the exams. Locations, earlier 192, now you get plenty of locations. Again, I think this is phenomenal, because the city where I live in, Pune, we used to have exams, CFA exams in this city earlier only in the month of June. For December, we had to travel to Mumbai to take the exams. Now it used to be a big mess, because you typically want to go a day in advance, because your exams are early in the morning. Then you have to pay for your hotels, you have to manage your food there, and then so much of complexity a day before the exams, right? What this does, it gives you plenty of flexibility in terms of where you write the exams. So again, that's a great news. Exam length, that's a little debatable. Earlier it used to be 2 3-hour sessions. Now we have 2.25 hour sessions, right? So in terms of number of questions, you did 240 questions at level 1 earlier, and now you'd be doing 90 plus 90. So you would be doing 180 questions at level 1. So the number of questions have reduced, right? Now what CFA Institute says is, they say that it's a question of finding out the appropriate sample size. So we all students of quant, so we have a little bit of idea there. So CFA Institute claims that earlier we thought 240 was the appropriate sample size, but we did a lot of testing around it, and now we feel that 180 questions is going to be a reasonable sample size. In fact, in one of their earlier presentation or blog somewhere, they mentioned that even out of those 120, 20 questions will not be graded. Okay, right now I couldn't find that content on their website, so I'm not sure about that. But let's say that 180 questions. Now, clearly, what this does from a candidate perspective is it reduces your, it increases your penalty for getting a question wrong. Earlier, for example, there were a few readings you felt you were not prepared on, so you kind of decided not to do them. Let's say one question showed up, the penalty for that mistake was 1 divided by 240, right, in percentage terms, because one question out of 240 is what you're not able to answer. Now you would be penalized more, because now your penalty is going to be 1 divided by 180, right, because we have less number of questions. So which basically means, when the number of questions are lesser on the exam, it kind of penalizes you for getting the question wrong. So from that perspective, this kind of looks like a negative from a candidate side. But again, any question paper anywhere in the world is a sample of the whole population being your syllabus. So if CFA Institute feels that 180 is good enough and they've done enough testing around it, I think we should be all right with that. That's my take on this. Now the second side of the story here is that will it reduce the value of CFA charter, right? And to me, it looks like purely a two-point discussion. The first point discussion is the supply versus demand of the candidates, and the second point is the quality of candidates that pass out the exams. Now, it's a hypothesis that a lot of people are making that because the exams are 4 times a year now, the supply is going to increase, right? And maybe demand will probably not increase at the same rate. So therefore, the value of charter will reduce. Okay. Now, I think it's too early to really say that, because one is we don't know whether supply is really going to increase. At least at this point, there's no sufficient data to support that hypothesis. And let's assume that supply increases. Then the question is that, will there be sufficient demand in the industry as a whole to absorb these many candidates? And again, I feel that, especially in countries like, India, right, where we're still so underpenetrated, I think there is, massive demand going to come in the next 10-15 years. So I don't see this being too much of a problem. And again, the way I look at demand is, one is, again, demand has two parts. One is your market capture. So, and second is the new demand, right? The fresh demand that gets created. So again, the new demand is, new bank branches are opening up, new fund houses are setting up, more number of investors are coming mainstream. So therefore, more analysts are required to support this community. So that's the new demand, right? And that is going to be there in India for years and years, and is probably going to be there in a lot of geographies across the world. Probably not necessarily in the developed markets, that's debatable, but definitely in developing world, this is going to be there. Now, market share is where, CFAs or CFA candidates eating up the jobs which were traditionally, let's say, offered to maybe MBAs, or traditionally which were offered to chartered accountants. Now, I see that being happening. And maybe, that would also result into a little bit of incremental demand creation. But again, it's too early. So let's wait and watch for a few years to really comment on this. The second part of it is the quality of candidates. And what I mean by this is that will the level of rigor of the exams reduce, and people who probably don't deserve to pass get through the exam. And again, this needs to be seen. One of the concerns that I've had, and I think CFA Institute would have thought about it, is too many students taking up the exam, right? What I mean by that is, ideally it's a course meant for people with a little bit of work experience, and there are some students, and that's okay. If there's a healthy ratio of students and working people doing this course, it is perfectly alright. But if there are too many students and less number of working professionals doing the program, then what does is the supply that comes in the market is all freshers, right? So there's too much of supply at that maturity bracket, which is 0 to 2, and then that kind of creates problem for people like us who are also helping candidates get placed. So the quality of candidate issue is something that needs to be resolved, and I'm sure CFA Institute has things in mind to kind of tackle this issue. Okay, so these were my 2 cents on whether it's a good or bad. Overall, I think it's a positive thing. More flexibility You don't have to wait one long year for level 2 and level 3. Plenty of flexibility there. You finish your studies, you finish your program a little earlier. Computer based exam, we are moving in the right direction. Okay, now schedules and date, that's the third section. Now why do I need that here? Because there is a lot of mess and complication this year. So in 2021 we have some additional exam windows, right? So we have level 1 exam almost happening 6 times this year. Of course, not all windows are open for new candidates. Some of them are just for the deferral candidates. Level 2 will happen 3 times this year. Level 3 will happen 3 times this year. But once things kind of settle down, and I hope they do in this year, then 2022 onwards they get back to the regular testing window. So level 1 is going to be 4 times a year. You'll be taking it in Feb, May, August and November. Level 2 twice in Feb, August, and then level 3 you would be able to take in May and November. Okay, so that's the schematics. Okay, next, how is the exam going to be like? What will it be significantly different than your previous experience of taking a physical exam? I think so, yes. So now you would have to go to that Prometric center or whatever test center that's allocated to you. Here's your checking process, and of course I'll be talking about this more in depth as we approach towards the exam, but just to give you a super quick overview. You reach 30 minutes in advance. Okay, the proctor welcomes you. That's a good news. You have a place for storage. If you're carrying your bags, you're carrying your laptop, whatever you have with you, they'll give you a dedicated place. Inspection of your passport. So good. The proctor is going to give you writing apparatus and writing utensil. Every time I read this, I feel like you're going in for some surgery, but they just give you rough work stuff. So don't carry any pen, pencils, erasers, sharpeners with you. You don't need them. They will provide you rough work stuff. Okay, so that will be given to you, and then you're escorted to your computer, and then the exam begins. Right, straightforward process. Now, how is the exam is going to be? So you have you reach 30 minutes in advance. You do your pledge and tutorials, like in terms of how to operate the system. First paper, 2 hours and 15 minutes. You'd be doing about 90 questions here. Then you get a 30-minute break. It's an optional break, but I think it would make sense to take that break. Because then otherwise you would end up sitting for almost 4.5 hours at a stretch, right? So take that 30 minutes break, give yourself a little breather. I don't know if you're allowed to go out, but if you are, maybe grab yourself a cup of coffee. Once your 30 minutes are done, then you take the next part, 2 hours 15 minutes. What can you bring to the exam center? Straightforward. You bring your passport. You bring your calculator. So you still have to take your calculator with you. Don't forget that. The same calculators, right? Either HP 12C or your Texas calculator. And that's it. Now, don't carry any scratch sheets. No, don't carry any pen, pencils, any writing material. Not necessary. About exam ticket, I'm not sure. Because earlier you used to also take that exam ticket with you, right? Right now on their website I couldn't find any information, but eventually we'll figure that part out. Okay, now how is that Prometric exam going to look like? So I'll give you a direct overview on the website, their website itself, and you can do this for yourself. Just have a look at it. Just search for CFA Prometric. Okay, it takes you on the Prometric website. This is their some sort of a landing page. If you scroll down, they have this exam software tutorial. Click on that, and there you go. Just say okay. Do a system check. I did that yesterday, so like I don't have to do it because anyways you'll be writing exam at different location. Now this is your tutorial introduction, and more or less this is how your user face is going to look like. Now here in this tutorial, they give you option to change the user interface, so I can choose colors. Don't be very finicky about it. Just figure out what works for you and stick to it. Now these are different, these are like some sort of questions, and they give you idea on how you can navigate through the exam. So what I'll do is I'll start the test and just show you how it works. So here in this sample test, they've given 2 questions, and this is how you'd probably have your 90 questions, right? This is for level 1 right now. Now this is where they'll show you the time remaining. Okay. Now if I want to highlight something, what I can do is I can select this area and highlight. So, and this is, I think, a really cool function for level 2 and level 3 exams when you have to deal with those large cases, right? Cool function. Now let's say I'm reading these 3 options, and maybe I feel Belgium is not the answer. So what I can do is I can right click on this and see what happened. It strikes it off. So doesn't mean I've selected the answer, but like the way you do it on a paper, right? You're saying, okay, C is not the answer, let me choose between A and B, and then whatever you want to choose, you left click on this. If you want to change, just click on something else. Done. That's it. Straightforward. The moment you do that, it changes the color here, so you've selected it. Now if this is something that you would want to revisit, hit the flag button, right? So it shows you that you can come and revisit this later on through the navigation panel. Question number 2, I select my answer, finish test. Do you want to finish? Are you sure you want to finish? Yes, I want to finish. Answer would be submitted. Do you want to finish? Finish. Done. That's it. Straightforward. Okay, so that's how your use of interface most probably is going to look like. And finally, the last part of the section, let me answer some FAQs that we've been getting here. Can you reschedule the exam? So now reschedule creates a little bit of confusion. For example, let's say you have a Feb window, okay, and you've selected let's say 15th of Feb as your original date. Now can you reschedule that from 15th to maybe 17th? Okay, this is what they call as rescheduling. The answer is yes. And for year 2021, the cost of doing that, subject to availability, is going to be $25. Okay, so that is clear. Now the question is, can I go from Feb to maybe May, or can I go from Feb to August? So the answer is most probably no, right? Then that basically results in you withdrawing your exams and enrolling again, which means it's going to cost you a lot of money. Right, the exam fee, $700, $1,000, whatever window you enrolled in. So you can reschedule same window but different dates. But can you reschedule from one month to the another, one window to another? No. Then you'll have to withdraw yourself, and which is going to be an expensive affair. What is the average time per question on the exam day? So you have 1.5 hour. 1.5 minute for CFA level 1. So notice is the same. This is exactly the time used to get even in the paper based exam. So per question time is not changed. It's just the number of questions have come down. For level 2 and level 3, this doesn't really make sense as of now, because level 3 would also be those case study writing and all of that stuff. But I think very soon we are expecting CFA Institute to release some more information on this format. Okay, can I sit for the adjacent exam attempt? No. What does it mean? You'll have to wait for 6 months. So you take the exam in Feb, for some reason you don't get through. Can you write the immediate next one? No. You'll have to wait for 6 months. Level 2, they will provide you more information. Level 3, they will provide you more information. However, one good news that we already know is that you would have a left panel and a right panel when you're taking your exams, right? So in your prometric window, let's assume this is a window, you'll probably have like something like this. So this is the left side and this is your right side, and your case will appear here and your MCQs will appear here. So question number 1, 2, 3. So as you know, there are typically 6 questions in a case and with 3 options. Now I think this is phenomenal, even better than paper and pencil, because like if you've taken level 2 before, or if you've taken any mock exams, you know the experience. It's a 2.5 page case study. So you flip through the pages, then you read MCQ. then you want to refer to the data. So back, find it. Now this makes it easy. Your case is here, you highlight whatever you need to highlight, you strike through whatever you need to strike through, read the question, you provided scrollers maybe here on both the sides, so go up and down. I think the overall experience is going to be easier with this. Level 3, right? How do you draw graphs? How do you use some, you want to make some sort of a image representation. Can you do it? I don't know. What we do know though is that there will be a formula editor for you to insert your formulas. So let's say there's some fancy swap calculation shows up in the AM section. You have to show the steps, you have to show the formula, use the formula editor. At this moment I don't know how easy or difficult using that formula editor is. We're trying to bring in that formula editor on Fintri site, but it will take a few iterations to get it exactly like Prometric. What they're saying is, you don't have to write the formula if you have all the steps in place. Don't worry about writing a formula. But then, what if your final answer is wrong? Then you don't get credit for your steps. So which means, for all practical purpose, you will have to show your steps. You'll have to write your formula. There's no alternate there. So we will eventually have to teach ourselves to get acquainted with this whole formula editing system. Okay, what if, you have fever and, you're coughing a day before the exam? What do? Write them, let them know. Okay, so I think they're being responsible here. It makes sense. I mean, if you're not keeping good health, you have COVID-like symptoms, clearly you should not be going to the exam center, right? So just write them, let them know what's happening. I'm sure they will have some solution for you. This is the email ID, info@cfinstitute.org. What if there is a technical issue on the exam? What if the Prometric computer just stopped working? So two options. One, wait for the issue to be resolved. Second, reschedule maybe to the next day or a day after. Will there be a cost? No. But can you continue? Let's say you finished half of your exam and then there was a computer issue. Do you have to write only the remaining one or the whole one? The whole exam? You'll have to write the whole exam. So let's hope. Let's hope there are no technical issues on your exam day. And that's it. So I hope you found this video useful, and I hope I was able to answer so many queries. Now it took us a lot of time to collect information for this video because we had to, it was not at one place, so we had to see some of the videos released by CF Institute. What we're thinking is, or what we're hoping is that CF Institute will probably come up with some tutorials and some information by themselves, so people like me don't have to do all this job, and they hopefully they will make it easier. And we are already in January, right? The first exam is in Feb, so it's high time that information gets released, and hopefully that's released fast. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much. Stay positive, stay safe, and we'll connect soon.